Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Bad to the Bone artist George Thororgood. And how amazing is it to be so categorically sure about yourself to sing a song like that one? So trust you found that one encouraging. Well, we're going on to an absolute artist, musical artist today. His story started in 1947 in Paisley in Scotland. He was brought up in a council house and his dad died at the age of 16. And it was this Celtic harmonic roots that well and truly informed Gerry Rafferty's music career. He started out busking. It was around that 1963 mark that he realised that Gerry Rafferty actually loved music. He loved it. He tried a couple of other things, but they didn't really work. And so he just went for music at that point. Now, I didn't know this little fact right here. 1969, the first group he got part of, 1969, the Humblebums. Now, you might be thinking, who are they? Well, check out these names in this duo. Gerry Rafferty, Billy Connolly. Yes, Billy Connolly. Now, I don't know if you're aware that Billy actually plays the banjo really well. And so is that, as well as his sort of songwriting ability and singing, that he and Gerry got together and formed the Humblebums. And they actually had 3 studio albums in their bit of a career, which is pretty cool. But it was Gerry Rafferty that said to Billy, "Hey mate, you're a bit of a wisecrack, this guy. Why don't you just try stand-up comedy?" Well, the rest is history, because Billy is one of the most enduring comedians of all time. So, and by the way, I'm going to go through these clips as we go, and they're all in the description below. I've got a few to get through today. So we've got a bit of a static clip of Please Sing a Song for Us. And well and truly, we can see right here that Gerry Rafferty just had this unique ability about him. He was very and truly informed by his Celtic Scottish roots, massive harmony stuff, and that was him that gave him this almost a whimsical style of music through his career, with rock and folk and all the rest of the stuff that was going on. So Billy went off to do his thing, and Gerry thought, well, what am I going to do? And he thought, well, actually, I'll just start a bit of a solo career. And so in 1971, he released Can I Have My Money Back? I love the name of that album, and we actually have a live version of the title track of that album in the description below. Very much bringing in the folk Celtic roots of Gerry Rafferty, that is for sure. It's around 1972 that he met Joe Egan, and the two of them, together with a few others, formed Stealers Will. Now, between 1972 and 1975, they received 3 studio albums, so we're actually up to 6 studio albums already. And these guys had quite a bit of success. And in fact, one of the major songs for these ones is Stuck in the Middle with You. Now, when you hear this one, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that song. Gerry Rafferty. Who would have thought? Yeah, I thought there was some other guy. It was actually Gerry Rafferty and Joe Egan who did this one. This was a massive song for the first Stealers World, number 8 in the UK singles charts and number 6 in the Billboard Top 100. And so we've got a live version of that one. Now, being ever restless, I think, to find his art and what made Gerry tick, and I suppose be inspired a little bit by his first album. Gerry thought, well, I think I've given these guys 3 years of my life. I think I'm going to go out and find my own thing. Record company said, hang on a minute, look at the contract here. If you do that, do you really want to do that? Because we know we've got an amazing musician, songwriter here. We don't want to let you go, but if you go, you're not going to release anything for 3 years. And Gerry went, oh, really? I mean, only at pretty young at this point. So you know what do we know at that certain age? The record company said, sorry, that's it, mate. It's been nice knowing you. It's been good to make some money out of you, but you know what? Wish you all the best. But if you release anything in 3 years, we're going to actually have our way with you. So then entered a whole heap of court cases, and I really want to get out of this thing. I've got so many songs I want to record, but I just can't. So there were many bus trips and train trips journeying from where he was living to the city. Hint, hint, that when those 3 years were up and we finally got the approval, 1978, out come the iconic City to City album. This is an absolute huge album, this one. In fact, this album was so huge, it sold 5.5 million copies. And it took the #1 spot from Saturday Night Fever. Now, just to put that into context, Saturday Night Fever is one of the highest selling albums of all time. So to be able to take that one off the #1 spot is pretty amazing. Now, there's only one reason why this album is absolutely huge and massive, and that is because when you talk about Gerry Rafferty, there's one song you need to talk about. Now, you both might be thinking, Gerry Rafferty. Now, what was that song again? It had that bit of saxophone. Oh, yeah, it had that pretty amazing saxophone bit in it, played by Raphael. And that's right, the verses are pretty mellow. And there's this interesting guitar solo at the end. What's that song again? Well, I'll put you out of your misery. Baker Street. Oh, that's right, that song. Now, this song is absolutely standalone, distinctive, absolutely musical, lyrical genius right here. I suppose if you have got 3 years to actually write and work out what you're going to do, well, you actually think, well, I'm going to actually do this song. I've got this song in my head. And by the way, Baker Street was inspired all about those bus journeys to the city to talk out the contracts. And so he had a chance to really, I suppose, hone this song into something he really wanted. And so Baker Street became an absolute overnight sensation. In fact, Gerry Rafferty himself was quoted that the royalties from this song, because this was a mainstay on radio and still has been for years, he was earning £80,000 per year from this song. Now, as he quite rightfully said, he didn't need to do anything else. He could just survive very happily off this one song. This is what happens when you have a hit as huge and as massive as Baker Street. But along with this massive, humongous, never changing music forever hit, Gerry was not at all comfortable with being a star and being famous. He much preferred just to do his music behind the scenes, and he really didn't want the notoriety that this song actually brought him. But because he had this massive hit, he was thrust into the limelight of recording it, performing it, sometimes miming it. When's the next album coming out? The record industry, fans, the whole thing. And Gerry just was really reluctant with this whole thing. And Baker Street, in lots of ways, has some lyrics that point to that fact well and truly. It's almost like, hey, this is a really good song, this one, but I kind of hope it doesn't go anywhere, because the song I've actually achieved because I've written this song and I've recorded this song. But sure enough, and there was to and fro about whether it should even be released as a single. Well, it was released as a single, and the rest is history. This was an absolutely massive song in the late 1970s. What makes it so massive is that incredible saxophone solo at the start, and it makes it a very, and now I'm going to use the D word here. This song is distinctive because there is nothing else quite like this song. What's great about the song, first of all, the sax solo, very, you know exactly what this song is, but also these other little tweaks and sounds that are happening behind the scenes. You know, there's a bit of a downward swinging sound and a couple of other just glimpses of sound through the verses. The verses are pretty mellow, and then they really ramp up with the sax solo and the lead guitar solo. It's like, whoa, where did that one come from? And it just really finishes the song off. Now, I've got a live version and an official clip on this one. Now, in the live version, just watch the way Gerry sings this. Gerry, again, the reluctant star. Let's just face it, he's just standing there and he's just singing it. He's almost a bit scared to be there, but you know what? It didn't matter. His song speaks volumes. In fact, when a song becomes bigger than the songwriter, that's probably the dream right there. And to have a band as good as this guy's band was, to be able to pull off Baker Street live is pretty amazing. The guitar purists, and I must thank Phil of Wings of Pegasus here for his analysis of the live version here. Lead guitarist doesn't quite get it here. It's a little bit out of context for the rest of the song. And, you know, despite all the stuff that's going on in this track, you know, you cannot get it completely right. But this is the great thing about live music as well. There's always a bit of difference to the official version. So we've got a live and official version of the iconic Baker Street. So the record company said, right, give us more, we want more, we want more, we want more. In fact, you're contracted to do more. So when's your next album coming out? And so out in 1979, he actually brought out Night Owl. This is also regarded by the Gerry Rafferty fans out there as a pretty significant album for Gerry, and a great follow-up to City to City. It wasn't quite as successful as City to City, but still shows how amazing Gerry Rafferty's songwriting was. We got a couple of songs off that album. You've got the official clip to Being on My Own. There's something in that particular message, because it was around this time that Gerry Rafferty's marriage kind of wasn't so good. And then we got Get It Right Next Time, which is very much the case of how interactions with love. It's not love that fails, it's relationships that fail. And so we've got two official clips of Night Owl. Now, after that, in the 1980s period, it was a bit quieter for Gerry Rafferty because, I think Baker Street really got to him. He realised he didn't have to do anything else. He had nothing else to prove, and so he kind of became a bit more of a recluse at that point. The reluctant star, the timid star, that is for sure. So if you did get a Gerry Rafferty performance or album release, it was pretty amazing. Gerry unfortunately did leave us in 2011 at the age of 63. It's a bit of a year that year for the UK in particular, because I lost an absolute treasure. People really love Gerry Rafferty, and his family well and truly has carried on his tradition of songwriting and harmonies and all the rest of it. They sang at his funeral, and there's been a few other performances as well. And he left an indelible mark on music, not just in the UK, but in the world. In fact, between 1971 and 2009, there were 10 studio albums and 20 singles, so that's a lot of output right there. And one after his death in 2021. Now, obviously, Billy Connolly, who goes right back to Gerry Rafferty's start, had quite a bit to say about Gerry Rafferty when he died. Talked about a hugely talented songwriter and singer, a real loss to the world when he died, and one of the few artists to straddle folk and popular music. So to have the respect of Billy Connolly just goes to show that he was probably reflective of many people who thought a similar thing about Gerry Rafferty, and certainly when he died, there was no shortage of people paying tribute to him. A true artist, Gerry Rafferty. Someone who put music first, someone who was a reluctant star because, it wasn't about him, it was about his songs. But if you can actually write really good songs, your performing kind of becomes secondary to that. And I think this is well and truly the case here. His music enabled his performance, and it didn't matter. We just had an absolutely iconic songwriter right here. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. We have two phases of our life going on. We have the real person, and then we've got the public person. Sometimes the public person can be a little bit different in your own spot person. Sometimes the two don't to kind of reconcile with each other. It can be a bit strange. I don't know how you do it. I think you've always got to come back to who you are, and it is that which creates your art, not the other way around. I mean, Gerry Rafferty could have, just gone into the whole, I'm going to just produce records thing, but he kept true to himself and true to his art, and because of that, the follow-up album, Night Hours, it was pretty significant, and the album after that, Snakes and Ladders, was pretty good as well. And just to finish things off, we're going back to Steelers Wheel and Stuck in the Middle with You. This is a bit of a tribute from a few guys on stage, including the Proclaimers, who of course also from Scotland. So get all these guys on stage to do one of your iconic songs. It's pretty amazing. So I trust you found Gerry Rafferty's story a little bit encouraging today as you continue your own journey and your private and public faces, and how you reconcile those two things together. But in the case of Gerry, it was his music that did that. And so the links to those, I think I've got 8. I don't think actually I think I did 8 with Cher, but 8's quite a few. It just goes to show that when you follow people's careers through, and I think you probably noticed that I've actually changed my videos a little bit. I used to do all the clips at the end. I'm actually doing that a little bit more through the video now, and of course the links to the videos are always going to be in the description below. And by the way, I've also included my last video as well from George Thororgood. So if you want to recap on him, just for someone completely different, feel free. Well, we're up to the start of 2023 next time. And so if you have been with me through 2022, may I wish you a happy new year, and may, all your hopes for the new year come to fruition. But of course, we've got to do our part and take those steps to actually do that. It just doesn't come to us. We've got to make the steps happen ourselves as well. But, may 2023 be an opportunity for you to take those steps you haven't already, and to see how life can progress. It can be pretty exciting at times, that is for sure. And I thought, well, I've changed the order slightly with my artists, because I thought, there's no better artist to usher in 2023 than the voice of a generation. And his song, Freedom 90, which is all about him changing his way and him changing the way he was. Of course, that's George Michael. So that's where we're headed next time. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.